Publishers all over the globe are reporting a shocking rise in sales of epidemic-based novels. The publishing house Penguin recently recognized it was carrying out a good deal of effort to reprint the English translation of the novel The Plague by the French author and existential philosopher Albert Camus, now out of stock on Amazon, and having sales increased up to 150% compared to the same period of the previous year. Published on the 10th of June in 1947, The Plague's story is based in the 1940s Algerian city of Oran, which suddenly is struck by an epidemic of bubonic plague, with a special emphasis on the effects this has on the psyche of the various characters placed in the narrative. Previously focused on monotony and materialism, life in Oran radically changes after corpses start piling up on the street. The city is quarantined in an effort to contain the propagation of the disease. The insiders are quickly dominated by fear. The different responses they take are epitomized in the figure of Dr. Rieu, the ethical hero of the novel, who continuously fights to contain the spreading of the disease, and the journalist Lambert, who is just a passerby and tries to escape the city, only turning to help when his project is frustrated by the vigilantes. Many readers have come to conclude that, despite the many epidemics that the city of Oran has undergone throughout history, the plague was really a metaphor for the fascism that took place in Europe in the first half of the 20th century. However, what's most striking about the plague is the detailed explanation of the disease, the sudden disasters and the remedies that the inhabitants try to carry out, how it affects their actions and decisions, how it spreads to condition not just who may live, but how one may live. Yet the plague, in its disastrous core, is also able to light up the feelings of solidarity, lost by the purely material interests of monotonous life, bringing back humanity from the ashes of society itself. I must say, I first found it funny when I heard that this book's popularity was arising amid the global proliferation of the COVID-19. Yet, however, the ties that link the contemporary state to the fiction of the work of Camus leave no place to doubt on why this 1947 novel is enjoying such a revived success. In reading this work, the necessary distance with the characters proves itself as a tool to find parallelisms with our day-to-day peers, from those rushing to take as much as they can from the supermarket, thus leaving empty shelves for their neighbors, to those that volunteer themselves to the point of exhaustion, working to contain the spreading, and the anonymous heroes that don't think it twice before donating those savings and masks to help. Yet the impact of the COVID-19 in our approach to our culture goes much further than the rise in taste for apocalyptic fiction. Just when the coronavirus outbreak seems to be going down in China, Japan and South Korea, as well as countries such as Italy and Spain back in Europe, are facing one of the worst health crises in their recent histories. With more than 8,000 cases of the coronavirus documented within its borders, Italy went on lockdown last Monday, while officials worked to contain the virus's spread. As Italy's 60 million citizens continue adjusting to life under quarantine, galleries throughout the country have begun closing to the public temporarily. In trying to help stop the spreading, museums across the country have also closed, and events such as the Venice Architecture Biennale notified last week that it would delay its opening until the end of summer. In a recent interview, the art critic Francesco Bonami stated the following: "The atmosphere is dramatic and very strange, and yet the utter gravity of it is a sort of awakening. Who's who doesn't matter anymore. Italy is back to the time of the Grand Tour. Empty streets, empty museums. It's odd for the few and the brave, and it's scary and yet refreshing." The community of Madrid in Spain, where this video is being recorded right now, also recently saw the closing down of its museums, and I wouldn't be surprised to see harsher actions taking place by the time this video is published. Japanese institutions such as the Mori Art Museum in Tokyo and the Kyoto National Museum have also been closed down until mid-March, and China, where the coronavirus was first spotted, has been among the countries most deeply affected by the outbreak. Museums, biennials and art fairs took prompt action, closing their doors within days after it became clear that it would be a difficult task to contain the pathogen, postponing their activities or, as was famously the case for Art Basel Hong Kong, cancelled among disputes. Gallery Week in Beijing decided it would delay its 2020 edition, planning to hold it in mid-April. The National Art Museum of China in Beijing, the Guangdong Art Museum in Guangzhou, and the Union Art Museum in Wuhan are among the institutions whose doors have not yet been open again. I must say, however, that I am reticent to call this a tragedy. I remember when ISIS destroyed the Buddhas in the city of Palmyra, and back in Europe, art fair participants performed a 1 minute of silence for them instead of the human victims of the jihad. Moreover, I would say the situation has led us to experience art in a way perhaps not new in its form, but definitely new in its extent. As a result, many museums turned their eyes to the virtual, including Beijing's world-famous Palace Museum, which sits inside the Forbidden City, and the National Museum in Beijing, which is hosting now a show of Chinese artifacts repatriated from Italy, available for online browsing. The decision to close has a much more serious impact on China's private museums, as they do not receive funding from the government and are primarily sustained thanks to sponsorship and ticket sales. 100 online exhibitions and galleries are linked to from the NCHA website. though only some offer English information. Links are left in the description. The Power Station of Art in Shanghai invited its audience to share their favorite passages from the museum's publication and to create a sort of online magazine in its official WeChat account. And the Ulan Center of Contemporary Art in Beijing, as an extension of the exhibition Voluntary Garden, partnered with the video streaming platform Kuaishou and presented Voluntary Garden online concert Sonic Cure on February 19th, in which 9 performers from around the globe live-streamed musical performance via cell phone screens. But definitely my favorite initiative among all of those has been M Woods with its ongoing virtual exhibition, a hypothetical show for a closed museum, which was launched the 13th of February on its social media channels, WeChat, Weibo and Instagram, coining over 40 artists and, in line with the social situation, is curated focusing on themes such as nature, isolation and familial bonds, which resonates well with the people under quarantine, just as the work of Camus has shown to resonate. This channel itself has been thought of as a self-sustainable project that, although it may have been inaugurated during a quarantine, is aimed for the long run. So if you're just new to the channel, please like, subscribe and be alert for new notifications. They'll probably come soon. I guess we have plenty of time.